All right, let's just jump right in. We're going to tackle one of the biggest, most fundamental questions in all of tech right now. What is artificial general intelligence? AGI. Now, you'd think the folks actually building this stuff would have a solid answer, right? Well, turns out, not so much.
Right off the bat, the two giants leading the race, OpenAI and DeepMind, don't even agree on what the finish line looks like. OpenAI is all about economic output, basically what the system can do for the economy. DeepMind, on the other hand, is focused on mirroring human thinking, what the system can understand. This is a huge divide, so let's really dig into each one.
So first up, let's take a look at OpenAI's definition. Their entire approach is framed around practical, measurable economic impact. It's all about the money.
At first glance, this seems pretty straightforward, right? It's all about performance and usefulness, not getting bogged down in philosophy. The system doesn't have to think like you or me, it just has to get the work done and do it better. But trust me, there's a lot of complexity hiding in that simple sentence.
This is really the heart of the matter, because that phrasing is so deliberate. They're not talking about replacing most jobs as we know them today. Nope, it's about something way more fundamental than that. Okay, so here's the key distinction, and it's a big one. It's about jobs versus tasks. Think about it. A job, say a software developer, isn't just one thing. It's a whole bundle of different tasks. Coding, sure, but also communicating, designing systems, making judgment calls. What OpenAI is saying is that their AGI doesn't need to take over the whole job title. Nah, it just has to be better than a human at most of the valuable tasks that actually generate economic value. It's a subtle but really, really important difference.
This is a great thought experiment. It really pushes the definition to its limits. I mean, if you have a network of machines pumping out the majority of economic value, does that check the AGI box? Is pure economic output really enough?
Well, the answer is actually no. And that's because there are these unstated assumptions kind of hiding in the fine print of their definition. First, it's about the type of work. It can't just be cranking out widgets. It has to handle cognitive stuff, like planning and strategy. Second, it has to be a system, one single integrated agent, not just a bunch of specialized AIs that are good at one thing. And third, it needs real autonomy. It has to set its own sub-goals, not just be a puppet following our commands.
So what's really fascinating here is the purpose of this definition. It's not really trying to be a perfect scientific classification of intelligence. It's more of a practical tool, a tripwire. It's designed to be a clear line in the sand that tells us, okay, we've reached this point, now it's time to hit the big red safety button and bring in some serious governance.
Okay, let's switch gears and look at DeepMind. Their approach feels a lot more intuitive to most of us because it uses the ultimate benchmark, us, humanity. Now, this definition is all about cognition and research. It's zeroing in on the actual processes of intelligence, things like learning, reasoning, abstraction, all the stuff we typically associate with human thought. It's definitely a more classic and, you could say, a much higher bar to clear.
And here's where this simple, elegant definition starts to get really, really complicated. Because that little word intellectual is doing a ton of heavy lifting. Human intelligence is so much more than just a checklist of cognitive skills.
See, the word intellectual conveniently strips out all the messy, fuzzy, but absolutely essential parts of our intelligence. It gets rid of our values, our ethics, our gut feelings about social norms. It removes the very fabric that grounds our decisions in a shared human reality. And this just nails the core insight. DeepMind's definition is describing an AGI that knows how to achieve any goal you give it. It's a master problem solver, but it says absolutely nothing about an agent that knows which goals are good ones, or why some actions are right and others are just plain wrong. It defines an incredibly powerful tool, not a wise partner.
So if both of these leading definitions are carefully sidestepping what it actually means to be a human-like agent, well, what on earth does that mean for safety and this whole alignment problem?
This table just lays the gap bare. A human agent chooses goals based on their own internal values. We make judgments, and maybe most importantly, we can be held responsible for what we do. But look at the other two columns. Under both the OpenAI and DeepMind definitions, the AGI is just a system that follows orders. There are no internal values, and there's absolutely no concept of responsibility. And this right here is why the whole alignment problem is so tricky. See, it's not some bug we can just fix with a software update down the line. No, it's baked right into the DNA of these definitions. You could say it's a feature, not a bug, of the very systems they're describing. By deliberately cutting out values from the definition of intelligence, we're basically guaranteeing that alignment has to be this external thing, a set of controls we impose instead of an internal shared understanding. It's a huge deal.
Okay, for the last part, let's bring this whole debate back down to earth. Let's ground it in the physical world. Because for all our talk about these abstract definitions, intelligence needs a body. Or, at the very least, it needs hardware to run on.
I mean, just look at the energy gap. It's staggering. Your brain is running on about 20 watts of power. That's less than a dim light bulb. An AI data center? We're talking megawatts. This isn't just a minor difference in efficiency. It's a profound statement about how incredible biological intelligence actually is.
And it's not just about power. The entire system is lightweight, it's self-repairing, and it learns nonstop for a whole lifetime, all packed into a little 3-pound package.
And then there's memory. Our memory is, well, it's a fundamentally different beast. It's plastic, it's associative. You know how a certain smell can just instantly trigger a complex memory from your childhood? It's not a static database. For large language models, memory and computation are separate things, and their knowledge is pretty much frozen in time after training. That is a vast, vast architectural canyon between us and them.
So here's the kicker. Even if we could wave a magic wand and solve the software definition of AGI tomorrow, the challenge of building a physical system that can operate with the efficiency and adaptability of a human being, that's a completely different problem, and it might be a much, much harder one to solve. And that leaves us with this final, really vital question. Both of the leading definitions are pointing us toward creating something incredibly powerful, either economically or intellectually. But by their very design, they exclude the moral, value-driven core of our own intelligence. So as we race to build these things, we have to stop and ask, what exactly are we creating here? And what kind of world will it create for all of us?